Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Gregory Wright Show. Hey, Ted Cruz, the senator representing the state of Texas, a couple of days ago went scorched earth on his Democratic colleagues in Congress a couple of days ago concerning the illegal immigration crime against American citizens, to the point where these citizens are victims, and most of them that he is going to talk about in this video have been killed or severely injured. And as an American myself, and as I'm speaking to my audience right now, we cannot go for that. Not at all. Not a bit. Okay? So without any further ado, here's the clip.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for holding this hearing. For 4 years under Joe Biden and the Democrats, this country witnessed an invasion at our southern border. It is an invasion that has no precedent in the history of our country. 12 million illegal immigrants were allowed to come into this country. And that was deliberate. It was not an accident. It was not negligence. It was a deliberate choice that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and Alejandro Mayorkas and every Democrat senator and House member made. They looked at 12 million illegal immigrants and they saw what they believed would be future Democrat voters. And they were willing to allow Americans to be murdered, American women to be raped, American children to be brutalized by violent criminals day after day after day.
And these violent criminals are illegal aliens who were not supposed to be in this country in the first place because they crossed the U.S. southern border illegally instead of going through sanctioned or authorized ports of entry along the southern border.
In his first 71 days in office, President Biden released 184,241 illegal immigrants. That was a decision. By the way, it was a lawless decision. Federal immigration law says they shall be deported. No president has ever done what this administration did, which is say, we don't care about the law. We are all about partisan politics, and we're going to let them all go.
You know, the Democrats in Congress, they always want to point the finger at Republicans, talking about there's no kings, there's no dictators, there's no this and that. But President Biden, or I would call him the auto pen president, he purposely made a decision, and it's more than 12 million illegal immigrants that crossed the border over the last 4 years during the Biden administration. It was more than 12 millions. If you count the gotaways, the known gotaways, the unknown gotaways, we don't know who those people are. 300,000 children missing across the United States. Where the hell are they? You know, the fact that Trump got impeached over making a phone call to Vladimir Putin over in Russia to clarify some information on Hillary Clinton. The fact that he got impeached for making a call to Ukraine to see what the heck Hunter Biden was doing over there. He got impeached for that. But President Biden doesn't get impeached for allowing 15 to 20 plus million illegal aliens into this country across the U.S. southern border. All right, just think about that for a sec.
And God help the communities we release them into. His first 71 days, Joe Biden averaged 2,600 releases per day. Let's compare that to the same 71-day period in 2025 under President Trump. Joe Biden, 184,241. Donald Trump, 9.
Just 9.
Not 9,000, not 900, 9. That is a 99.995% reduction. At the State of the Union address, Democrats did something else unprecedented. They decided they wouldn't stand for the president. They wouldn't applaud for the president. The only thing they would do is emanate hate and rage for the president of the United States.
That's all the Democrats got these days. Hate and rage. President Trump can find a cure for cancer and they'll still find a way to hate him for it.
So Alexis Nungary was at the State of the Union address. I've gotten to know Alexis well, the mother of Jocelyn Nungary, a beautiful 12-year-old girl raped and murdered in my hometown of Houston. The Democrats sat there and wouldn't applaud for the mother whose baby girl was taken from her.
And that's kind of sad. I don't know if you guys remembered. I don't know if you guys tuned in to the State of the Union delivered by President Trump as soon as he got elected, but he was basically trying to bring both sides, Democrat and Republicans, independents, the Green Party, together on issues that should not be partisan, like American sovereignty, securing our borders, making sure that criminal, illegal aliens are off the streets across America. You would think that the mother of a 12-year-old that got mistreated, I'll put it that way because I don't want to get zinged by YouTube. The mother of a 12-year-old that got mistreated and unalived by an illegal alien was at the State of the Union that Trump gave months ago this year. And he said a lot of things that he was going to do, mass deportations and securing the border, getting funding to complete the border wall. And the Republicans were clapping. They had a standing ovation, while the Democrats just sat on their ass and decided not to clap, decided not to cheer for sovereignty. They decided not to cheer for a more secure border. They decided not to cheer for mass deportations of illegal aliens in our country. And you have to wonder if the Democrats love this country or do they hate it. I think that, and let me know what you think in the comments, but I think that the Democrats love this country when the Democrats are in charge. They're in charge of the White House and they're in charge of Congress. The Democrats hate this country when the Republicans are in charge. And there's a stark difference between how the Republicans behave when Democrats are in charge versus how Democrats behave when Republicans are in charge. It's clear as day.
President Trump at the State of the Union address said last year Joe Biden stood before Congress and said he could not secure the border unless Congress passed new legislation. And as President Trump pointed out, it turned out we didn't need new legislation, we just needed a new president. You look at gotaways. Under Joe Biden, over 3 million gotaways. Who are gotaways? They're the most concerning of all of the 12 million that came into this country, because gotaways are the illegal immigrants. We know we're here. We see signs of them. We see tracks. But they didn't turn themselves in. Gotaways are much, much more likely to be murderers, much more likely to be rapists, much more likely to be child molesters, much more likely to be gang members, much more likely to be terrorists. Under the Biden administration, CBP was instructed at the southern border, be on guard for Hamas and Hezbollah and Palestinian Islamic Jihad terrorists coming across the border. Why? Because they've declared jihad and because the Biden open border policies extended a red carpet for anyone that sought to do harm. Now, if you look at what the Trump administration has done, it didn't just slow the bleeding, it turned it around. Daily border encounters down 93%, encounters with gotaways down 95%, illegal alien crossings down over 99%. These are historic, the biggest improvement in border security in the history of the United States of America. And yet, not a single Democrat is here celebrating that. Not a single Democrat is saying, thank you that our families are safer. They don't want our families safer. The Democrats have decided instead to fly down to El Salvador and have margaritas with MS-13 gang members. I genuinely don't understand that. Find me a community in America, find me a mom in America who says, you know what we need? More gang members who are raping more little girls. And this crisis is not about numbers, it's about lives. Laken Riley, a beautiful 22-year-old girl in Georgia, murdered by an illegal immigrant the Democrats released. Jocelyn Nungary, as I mentioned, a beautiful 12-year-old girl in my hometown of Houston, murdered by 2 illegal immigrants the Democrats released. They had them in custody. Her murderers were in custody. The Democrats released them. Her murder was in custody. The Democrats released them. Rachel Marin was a mother of 5. Raped and murdered by an illegal immigrant the Democrats had in custody, and they released them. Over and over and over again. This was deliberate. And they're not alone. Border Patrol agent Javier Vega Jr. gunned down by Los Zetas gang members. ICE Special Agent Jaime Zapata ambushed and murdered by cartel operatives. Kayla Hamilton strangled to death by a member of MS-13. Their families are with us today. I want to say thank you. Thank you for having the courage to tell your loved ones' stories. And I'd like to just end by giving each of you an opportunity. Mr. Avila, I want to start with you, and then Ms. Nobles, and then Mrs. Vega. Tell this committee and tell the American people a little bit about Javier and Kayla and Victor.
Yeah, before we get to the family members of those that were slain by illegal immigrants that had criminal backgrounds, I just want to bring up a couple points. One, if you're interested in this illegal immigration scandal that occurred under the Biden administration over the past 4 years, you may want to see my other video. It's going to pop up soon. This is a continuation of what I think is the great replacement theory in terms of black voters and Hispanic voters that are here, legal citizens in the United States, have been carrying the water for the Democratic Party for decades. Since, time immemorial, carrying the water, vote blue no matter who, for decades, 50, 60 years. We are now at the point where we are waking up and figuring out that the Democratic Party doesn't do nothing for black people. They don't do anything for Hispanic people who are living here legally in the United States. They don't do jack diddly. But you cross over the U.S. southern border illegally, you get free housing, free meals 3 times a day, free child care, free school, taking up all the space. These illegal aliens from United States citizens. They were placed here to replace us as voters, as loyal voters, just like blacks and Hispanics who are here legally have been for the past 50, 60 years. So they want a new loyal block of voters, allegedly, right? Because why else would the Biden administration allow nearly 20 million or over 20 million illegal aliens during the past 4 years under the Biden administration? Why would they let those many people inside our country if it wasn't for, if they weren't going to gain any benefit from it? They'll most likely gain a constituency benefit from it, because there are reports out there that illegal aliens are registering to vote, and being that the Democratic Party allowed them to come into this country and get free everything, they're most likely going to vote Democrat. And then the second reason is cheaper labor on farms and the car manufacturing industries and across all industries, right? You get an illegal alien coming over here willing to work for less than an American citizen, the illegal alien is going to be hired first. And that's just the bottom line, folks. But I'm going to make a separate video from this, diving in deeper into those two theories for context.
Mr. Avila.
Senator, thank you. And I appreciate the opportunity. Every time I have the ability to speak publicly, I will always honor Special Agent Jaime Zapata, who was assassinated next to me.
Yeah.
He died serving the country. He died defending our homeland for everyone, not one side of the aisle or the other. But what I've continued to do in my life after I retired is, and my concern is about public safety. It's about national security that affects our entire community. I don't want anyone to be a victim of a crime. No one. But I cannot tolerate not one murder, not one DUI, not one theft or one rape from a person that is in this country illegally. We have enough in our country, enough of crime, and it's very difficult for me to accept that the Democrats always put the victims last. Let's not forget the victims.
Mrs. Vega, would you tell us about Javier, please? Please turn your microphone on.
Thank you for having me here. You know, I feel like you've known Harvey. You've been with us from the very beginning. You supported us. You've put our story out there. And you're compassionate. And I see that in your eyes. And I appreciate that. I also want to say that we do not, as angel moms, we do not do this for the publicity. We don't do it for the spotlight. We do it because we know the pain, and we don't want any other family suffering the pain that we've suffered. We're not supposed to outlive our children. I stop by the cemetery every day, and I visit his grave. But I miss his voice. I miss him sending me flowers. I shouldn't be the one taking flowers to his grave. I shouldn't be the one fighting for all this. But I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop till my last breath. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for that. Mrs. Nobles, would you tell us about Kayla, please?
Kayla just started her life independently. She worked very hard to become independent. I don't know if some of you know, with autism, they overcome behavioral issues. They overcome a lot of stuff to be productive, and she was being productive. She had jobs. She celebrated her 20th birthday. I remember her counting down her birthday. She loved her birthday. Mommy, I'm going to be 20 in a few days. Are you going to, and then I'm like, I know, don't remind me. She celebrated her 20th birthday with her JoJo Siwa cake. And 3 days later, she was murdered and strangled and left on the floor like trash. I didn't know no one prepares you for that phone call. And when I found out it was a known MS-13 gang member, I was angry. How in the world can that come into this country, that monster enter into our country? And I made it that day when I learned to continue on the path to bring justice to Kayla and also for the safety of others. Nothing prepares you on burying your child that hadn't had a chance to get married, have children, and she just bought a car before she was murdered, and nothing prepares you for that. And I'm going to continue fighting for Kayla and for others and the safety of others, because we do not know who had come across the border. They were not vetted and background checked. And another thing is, how many of those UACs that came across the border were gang members? We don't know. And also all those children that were lost and given to, just given to any sponsor, any group home, how do we know that they were safe? I've always said from the beginning, I was concerned with also the children, who they were giving those children to. They allowed her murderer to leave the sponsor's house. He left. They did not say or do anything. 3 months after Kayla was murdered, when he was going to high school and Child Protective Services, ORR filed a missing teen report on her murderer 3 months after she was killed. Did the sponsor say anything? I don't know. We don't know if the sponsor said anything or what happened. I think they were just trying to cover their butt because they knew that that Walter killed Kayla. And then they were like, oh, well, we better report him missing.
Yeah. Well, let me say to each of the witnesses here, thank you for being here, but especially Mr. Avila, Mrs. Nobles, Mrs. Vega, especially thank you for being here, and thank you for not only sharing your pain, but
all right, well, we're going to end it right here. Let me know what you think in the comments section, right? Don't be shy about this, right? I voted for President Trump. I voted for mass deportation of all illegal aliens. The mainstream media could wrap it up, couch it in nice sugar-coated words, undocumented. They conflate immigrants with illegal immigrants, illegal aliens. Look, let me be crystal clear. If you cross this border illegally, you deserve to be deported. I don't care how long you've been here. I don't care if you were paying taxes. I don't care if you were voting. You're not supposed to be voting anyway, right? This stuff needs to stop. It needs to stop now. And that's all I'm going to say about that. I am going to leave it here. Tune in for my next video real soon. I appreciate your patronage. Thank you.